Peer-to-peer transactions, a step forward. Catalan Competition Authority, ACCO. The Catalan Competition Authority is an independent agency of the Government of Catalonia. Its purpose is to ensure, improve and promote conditions of fair competition in the market. Transactions for goods and services basically used to involve operators of a certain size, producers, wholesalers, retailers, etc., that established relationships with end consumers, following a vertical model. With the mass use of new technologies, many of these transactions can now also easily be conducted between peers, what are called P2P transactions, which means a cross-cutting model. In this way, users and consumers have more options. For example, they can choose to stay in hotels or in many private residences. Moreover, it is likely that the increased competition that will arise from these new opportunities will result in lower prices. All in all, greater supply and a possible drop in prices will increase the well-being of consumers and users. Consequently, in its July 2014 paper, Peer-to-Peer Transactions and Competition, ACCO proposed that the authorities should work towards an environment which makes the development of these initiatives possible. ACCO is taking a step forward by proposing specific actions which the public authorities could undertake to enable these activities, that some call the collaborative economy. The suggestions made by ACCO include, in general, 1. That the very regulations established by these platforms, self-regulation, compete with the regulations issued by the public authorities. When they draw up these regulations, the platforms try to capture offerers and buyers, because this is the key to their success. Hence, if competition between platforms is guaranteed, the regulations they draw up will already largely guarantee the rights of offerers and buyers, in order to attract them and stop them opting for competing platforms. However, competition between platforms may not be enough to adequately guarantee the rights of offerers and buyers when what is known as market failures take place, including what are termed negative externalities, whereby the activity generates costs for third parties. A step forward concrete proposal. The public authorities should ensure competition between platforms. In this way, their self-regulation will already largely guarantee the rights of offerers and buyers, and the public authorities will only need to regulate the market failures referred to above. 2. From the point of view of regulation, ACCO also suggests working to improve regulation, assessing whether, in the new internet environment, some burdens have become unnecessary. We should get rid of them, or whether they have become disproportionate. We would have to make them proportionate. For example, in relation to micro-offerers, so they can operate in the market. It is also essential to ensure that the burdens faced by incumbents are necessary and proportionate to their size, in order to ensure that micro-offerers and incumbents compete in an environment that is in proportion to their features. A step forward concrete proposal. Eliminate unnecessary burdens and make essential burdens proportional to the various operators so that all operators can compete in a relatively balanced environment. More specifically, 3. In connection with short-term tourist accommodation, we suggest putting in place a mechanism for assigning rights as an example of Regulation 2.0, dynamic, which would ensure that the restrictions are proportional at all times. In other words, instead of banning short-term rents in a neighborhood for 4 years, we would examine in real time how many people are renting at any given time. And only when we consider that a specified threshold has been exceeded would we temporarily ban the activity before allowing it again, once the volume of activity has dipped below the threshold. A step forward concrete proposal. Put in place dynamic regulation, such as a mechanism for assigning rights. That means restrictions are always proportionate to the situation that they are regulating. 4. With respect to land transport, mention is made of the possibility of studying the introduction of a compensatory system that helps facilitate the deregulation of highly regulated sectors. For example, if the government considers it necessary to have a taximeter to operate as a taxi driver, and then suddenly decides it is unnecessary, ACCO believes that the possibility of compensating part of this investment caused by the government, which has not been recouped, should be examined. A step forward concrete proposal. Assess the possibility of compensating the part of the investment brought about by regulation which is not recovered. This would facilitate the deregulation of highly regulated sectors. 5. With respect to the actions of the public authorities, a CCO believes it would be necessary to ensure neutrality in public procurement and in the provision of public services, so that the possibility of providing them through micro-offerers is considered. A step forward concrete proposal. Do not discriminate against micro-operators, either when the government purchases goods and services or when it offers them. 6. And the option of putting in place measures such as open data, or the preparation of a digital identity should be assessed to contribute to something as essential to this new form of activity as the reputation of users. The reputation of users is equivalent to the brand of the incumbents. A step forward concrete proposal. Open data and set up a digital identity that facilitates the preparation of the reputation of users. Hashtag a step forward. To make possible peer-to-peer transactions. Increase supply and competition. Benefit consumers and users. Catalan Competition Authority. Government of Catalonia. Generalitat de Catalunya.